everyone. We welcome you to coverage of the 2014 Miamisburg Spring Fling Parade presented by the Miami Valley Communications Council. I'm Gary Giles. So glad to have you with us again this year for coverage of the parade. Of course, this is the kickoff to an entire weekend of Spring Fling Festival activities, and leading the parade this year, as usual, Miamisburg Police Officer Josh Hyman, along with the Police K-9 Toro, which just passed by our camera location. And then you've got the combined American Legion Honor Guards from posts 165, 598, and 3438, honoring our veterans by displaying the colors. The Honor Guards from the American Legion, they participate in ceremonies year-round, about 200 events total each year. And there on the left of your screen, you see our Grand Marshal entry for 2014, and that's Virginia Kinderdine. Very worthy recipient of that honor for Virginia. She has a lengthy record of community service and a family name that is very prominent in Miamisburg history.
When I first heard that I was going to be Grand Marshal, I was completely thrilled. It was a wonderful thing to be asked for such an honor, and I am still stunned at the great honor that is given to me. I will start with Anna Kinderdine Wentz. She taught school for 50 years here in Miamisburg. There are so many people that remember her. She started out in a little one-room school and did the meals and did everything. And she taught then in town, of course, and the school was named after her. My husband's grandfather was chief of police for 50 years here in Miamisburg. Also, another one of his uncles was a sheriff of Montgomery County. And then, of course, I had my husband's father, George Kinderdine, played in the very first National Football League. For 71 years, I belonged to a charitable organization, which was Sigma Phi Gamma International Sorority. Now, that is a charitable one. And our main purpose was to make money, help people, and help all charity organizations, which we did. It was a wonderful thing, and I've enjoyed every minute of that. I think it's one of the most important things that you can do in your life, except raising your family. Everybody needs help, and if you're capable of giving it, you should. And that's been my life. I've hoped that I have done it.
Following behind Virginia, Mayor Dick Church Jr. in the golf carts, along with members of Miamisburg City Council. They're riding along in the golf carts. There you see Councilman Tom Nicholas, and with Tom was City Manager Keith Johnson. But the remainder of the members of council following along behind the mayor there in the golf carts. Mike McCade's entry to the left there, and there's Greg Thompson with his entire family riding along there. Good to see them out with us this morning. And behind council, the chair of the Miamisburg Spring Fling Committee in the car that just passed by, that's Hazel Isley. Boy, Hazel's been doing this for many, many years and is such a person that has a commitment to community service, and we appreciate her involvement in that. There you see an entry on your left there from the City Beautification Commission. This is a committee appointed by the mayor, have a variety of projects through the community each year to beautify Miamisburg neighborhoods, and happy to have them here as an entry in the Spring Fling Parade. The Miamisburg Municipal Court entries follow behind the City Beautification Commission. The Miamisburg Municipal Court, in the Jeep there that just passed, was Judge Robert Reddick, who is in his first term as the judge of the Miamisburg Municipal Court, and in the golf carts, various members of his staff. Continuing on there with other members of the court staff. We are at our usual broadcast location for the Spring Fling Parade, which is to say along Central Avenue between 1st Street and 2nd Street, right next to downtown Miamisburg. The parade route travels west to east during this segment that we're watching on Central Avenue, and it'll conclude up near Library Park on 5th Street, where Library Park, of course, serves as the main location for the weekend Spring Fling Parade. We're looking now at Montgomery County Clerk of Courts entry. That's Greg Brush. He's the Clerk of Courts. He's held this office since 2007. Under his direction, the Clerk of Courts office in Montgomery County has received several national and international awards for technological advancement. That's Greg Brush, Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. A slight lull there, a gap, if you will, in the parade entrance, but that actually to the right of your screen is Greg Brush, I believe. And behind him, another county office holder, and that's an entry from Carl Keith, the Montgomery County Auditor. Carl Keith, he has served as president of the County Auditors Association. In 2013, Mr. Keith was named Ohio's Outstanding County Auditor in 2012, actually. That's Carl Keith. Following along there's Carl with his dog. Glad to have him down here in Miamisburg for the parade this year. Next up in the small car there to your left is an entry from Mike Nolan. Mike is a former Miami Township trustee. He's currently running for office again as in the race for Montgomery County Commissioner. Mike Nolan, professionally, he's a former chief deputy in the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and again, a candidate for Montgomery County Commissioner in November. Harry Bossy, the endorsed Republican candidate for Montgomery County Auditor this year. Harry Bossy, he's a business owner and active in the community with groups like the Knights of Columbus, the Ohio Commodores. Harry Bossy. With the next sign you see, that's an entry from Judge Dennis Adkins. He's up for re-election as judge for the Montgomery County Common Pleas Court. Dennis Adkins, a big supporter of our men and women in uniform, and judge of the Veterans Treatment Court also. That's Judge Dennis Adkins. He'll be on the November ballot as well. We continue on here with some political office holders as well as political candidates, which we typically do have in our Spring Fling Parade here in Miamisburg. Appreciate their participation. Judge Dennis Adkins. Next, we have Dick Skelton, who is seeking election for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court in November. Dick Skelton, he spent the last 25 years serving the residents of the greater Miami Valley. Dick Skelton, candidate for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court. The vehicle coming up behind the walkers there is an entry from the law firm of Dyer, Garofalo, Mann & Schultz, a local full-service law firm, handles personal injury, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, even Social Security disability cases for Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. The law firm of Dyer, Garofalo, Mann & Schultz. Beginning with the pickup truck there on your screen, you're going to see some supporters of Montgomery County Commissioner Dan Foley There's the commissioner himself there on the right, Dan Foley, born and raised in the Dayton area, and current commissioner. He'll be on the ballot for re-election also in November. Behind Mr. Foley, an entry from the Kroger Company. Kroger, founded in 1883 and an annual participant here in the Spring Fling Parade. Now the largest national grocer, Kroger, with a location in Miamisburg on Heineke Road. Number of those employees from Kroger with us here today. And then another one of our popular and annual participants here in the parade, members of the Miamisburg High School Marching Band and Guard. Let's give a listen. Miamisburg Marching Band and Color Guard joining us here today. Great to see them out. Next, with the tractor and trailer, we have the Miami Producers, a 4-H club in Montgomery County with members from Miamisburg as well as Germantown, Farmersville, New Lebanon, and the surrounding area. The Miami Producers 4-H club. 40 members now, educating themselves and others about agriculture and good living. An outstanding organization, 4-H. Miss Miami Valley, Elisa Brumbaugh, summa cum graduate of the University of Akron. She has a degree in Family and Consumer Science Education. Miss Miami Valley, Alyssa Brumbaugh. Miss Montgomery County, Mackenzie Bart, a junior studying atmospheric sciences at The Ohio State University. Mackenzie Bart, Miss Montgomery County. And then we have a vehicle from the Laurels of Huber Heights. The Laurels of Huber Heights. And in this case, that is the Laurels of West Carrollton, same organization, an 88-bed skilled nursing facility. It's located in West Carrollton, affiliated with the Huber Heights facility. Twigs Gymnastics, just passing by our location there as the bus and walkers along behind the bus. Good to have him there. Twigs for many years. Was located in Miamisburg, moved not too long ago to a facility in West Carrollton, but still involved in our Spring Fling Parade and always with many participants from Miamisburg. The minibus that passed there to your left was from the Miamisburg Senior Adult Center. And then we move into phase 2 of our parade behind the Senior Adult Center bus. And this will begin as usual, our segment featuring the Antioch Shrine Temple, and these are always crowd favorites. Earlier in the parade, we saw Miamisburg Mayor Dick Church Jr. along with Miamisburg City Council, and now I am pleased to welcome him to our broadcast spot outside the Miamisburg Civic Center. As usual, joining us to call the parade, Mayor Church, thanks for being with us again.
Great to be here, Gary, and I'll tell you, it's cold.
We haven't talked about the weather, but it is cooler than normal, isn't it?
It's like a football game out there. And there goes our potentate of Antioch Temple, Scott Lips. This is the shrine contingent in the parade, and Antioch Temple is they're 117 years old this year. 1897 they were founded. And we're just glad to have them back. Antioch Brass Band. And under the direction of past potentate Ed Nolan. And on the bass drum there's a very proud man today. Is Kenny Lips from Miamisburg. And his son is the potentate of Antioch this year. and we're very glad to have him. Next group is the Antioch Temple Marching Patrol.
Mayor Church just got the usual salute from that group. Tell us a little bit about that group again, Mayor. What are they called and what do they do?
It's the Antioch Marching Patrol,
okay.
And it's one of the oldest temples units in Antioch Temple. It dates back over 100 years, and at one time they had 100 members, and as you can see, that has declined. And they're trying to keep the unit together, and I was the director of that from 1980 to 1985.
And because of that, we always see them stop at our location here and give you a special greeting during the parade route. Let's talk a little bit, real briefly, about the potentate, the current potentate, which you identified a little earlier, whose father is also a member of the Sun. He is also an elected official like you.
In Franklin. In fact, he is the former mayor of Franklin, and he graduated from Miamisburg High School, grew up here, moved to Franklin. He has a business in Franklin. It's a medical supply business, and got involved in local politics in Franklin and served 2 terms as mayor, and this year he is potentate of Antioch Temple. So we're very proud of Scott Lips.
Sure, Scott Lips, strong community service and a commitment to the Antioch Shrine.
It's exciting to come back home. My mom will be on the sidelines. My dad will be writing for the 45th year on Antioch's brass band trailer. Yeah. So to see my dad go by and be able to salute him as a graduate of Miamisburg, my hometown parade, we'll call this. Right. Well, I didn't totally leave. My heart stayed here, and my parents stayed here on Gephardt Church Road where I grew up. I did move to Franklin in 1987. I ran for office in 1999 on a small business ticket, believing in small business, and was very lucky to win that race, and I remain on council today, my 15th year.
Okay.
Shriners have fun, and I think when people think of Shriners, they think of shrine parade and clowns and little red cars, and that's right. But all that is fun with a purpose, and the purpose are the 22 hospitals that we own and operate. 19 orthopedic centers, the closest one being Lexington, Kentucky, and 3 burn centers, the closest one being Cincinnati. And we are really the leaders in national burn research and care and treatment. So if there's a child burned, they usually stabilize them in their hometown and then fly them to us, and we take care of the burn. So that's really the highlight of being a Shriner. Okay. Financing, income, insurance has nothing to do with care in the Shriners Hospital. We provide all care.
And Gary, passing in front of us now are the antique cars of Antioch Temple. Stopping right out there in front is past potentate Dwayne Jones from 1993. Gary, as I said, Antioch was formed in 1897, but in 1922, the Shrine of North America started a hospital charity, and we have 21 hospitals around the country that treat burned and crippled children. And we are very fortunate here in Miamisburg to be close to 2 of those hospitals, the Burns Hospital in Antioch. I want to talk a little bit about this group here.
Okay, go.
This is the Indianapolis Cars. It's a younger group of Antioch. And I'm waiting for them to do some maneuvers. They usually take off, and I think they're slowing down for the cameras. but they could take off at any minute.
Yeah, they do. They do a lot of great precision-based maneuvers through the streets during the parade route. Always a crowd favorite with adults and young people alike, as are many of the Antioch Shrine entries here. Great enhancement to our parade at Spring Fling.
And over here is the next unit is our Antioch Greeters. And
Mayor, you've been a member of Shrines for how long? Since
40 years.
40 years.
40 years. This group here is from the Bell Fountain area. Their headquarters is at Huntsville, Ohio, and it's our Funster unit, and they are busy throughout the year, especially at the Shrine Circus. They are the clowns of the Antioch Shrine Circus that's held each year. I talked to you about the Burns Hospital in Cincinnati, and we also have a hospital at Lexington.
Randy Taylor, let the band get out too soon. Let the what? Band. So it was out. I had to set these up.
The past masters and the Antioch Pipe and Drum Corps.
Whole thing had that. I go, well, who's supposed to go in? I said, your guys know when to go in. Oh, we don't. Okay, so I stopped the parade.
Are you saying that there's more community entries coming up? What are you saying?
There's more people coming off Second and Third Street. More.
The Antioch Bobbies are passing in front of us now. This group is, they are requested for parades throughout the Miami Valley area.
Sorry.
A lot of these units take part in the National Shrine conventions and participate for prizes in the big Shrine Parade. There's 191 shrine temples throughout North America, and that includes Canada and Mexico and Panama now. One of the prisoners got out of the paddy wagon there, so they're making sure he gets back in there. Next up is our motorcycle, the Motor Corps of Antioch Temple. Gary, the Shrine are invited to parades throughout a 13-county area where they represent all the way to Lima to the north, Middletown to the south, Lebanon, the Indiana border, and Springfield to the east. 13 counties we encompass.
As you mentioned, such an important and worthy mission of the organization to benefit those young people with burn injuries.
Right. Now the treatment is free at the hospitals, and now we do accept insurance now, but if they don't have insurance or what their insurance doesn't cover, then the Shrine picks up at no charge. It's no cost to the family to go to the Burns Hospital. And it's very easy. All you have to do is call Antioch Temple at 461-4740 in downtown Dayton, or you can call Ask Any Shriner. And this is a specialty unit of the Motor Corps. These guys travel from all over this 13-county area to participate in these shrine parades. And we do it so that we can be visible, so people know about our hospital system. We are so proud of that. And we also have vans that will take the children and their parents for treatment at these hospitals.
The Dune Buggies, another crowd favorite.
And it really started right here in Miamisburg, Ohio, the Dune Buggies. It was the Mound Rovers back then. And the Poets Troubadours.
There's a good shot of Pete's Troubadours in the truck and trailer there in the center of your screen.
Now the guy in the playing the clarinet on the top row of that is Tom Benner from Miamisburg. And Benner Park, his parents were the ones that owned where Benner Park is now. Herbie Gregerson was longtime director of that, and Herbie now is 90-some years old and still alive here in Miamisburg, and I know if his health would allow it, he'd be right on that truck today.
You're watching coverage of the 2014 Miamisburg Spring Fling Parade. If you're watching us on May the 17th, you are watching us live coverage.
Okay, now we're going to get a little bit of action here with our four-wheeler. It still amazes me, Gary, how they get in those little cars.
A lot of these groups, and this is one example, Mayor Church, they really have to spend time practicing these maneuvers, don't they?
A lot of these units practice weekly at the mostly at the Welcome Stadium area of UD. This is a Kentucky Colonel out unit, and all these nobles are members of the Kentucky Colonel unit. It's driven by Paul Weglich of Miamisburg. The Hillbilly Clan. I'm a member of the Hillbilly Clan.
Is that right?
Yes.
I won't make any comments about that.
Okay. In fact, that black hat that guy's got on, I got one just like it. Yeah.
Now, usually we see the shrine entries conclude our parade, but in this case this year, we have some more community entries coming up afterwards. The truck you see there on the right of your screen, that's our final entry from the shrine.
Right.
Calliope player in the back. And then we go back to the community entries in the parade lineup, and that's Vicky Joe Dance Studio, celebrating over 50 years of providing dance instruction to young people, mostly young and old, really. It's not just young people in the community. That's Vicky Joe Dance Studio, member of the Miamisburg community for over 50 years.
And I knew the original owner, went to school with Vicky Joe Boyer, who started this 50 years ago.
Large group of young
right
dancers there
school.
on the trailer.
She started this.
Okay.
Now, don't you have a daughter in this outfit, or used to? Or?
Formerly. No
Yes.
longer, but
Okay.
formerly, yes.
Now, this unit here, I think, was in parades a lot longer than 50 years ago, right? The
I would say
antique
so,
car?
yes. Yeah. And that is a 100-year-old Ford Model T touring car. It's owned by Ernie Schmolinsky. has a top speed of 40 to 45 miles per hour. I believe this next group is another dance organization, Mayor Church, Jeannie Moreland Dancers from the Miamisburg Springboro area. And they will actually be performing in the park at 11 o'clock today on Saturday. And there is live entertainment throughout the weekend in Library Park on the staging area. And if you're watching us live on May the 17th, an entire weekend of activities and fun, we want to invite you to come down here and participate in some of the activities and the fun going on there.
Gary, I know Mary
Jeannie Moreland Dancers. And this is a unit, one of our annual entries here in the Spring Fling Parade, MAG Racing. MAG stands for Miamisburg Assembly of God. It's a youth ministry of that church, MAG Racing.
Gary, I'm glad you're able to follow the parade lineup here. Showing up late, I would be totally confused because it's a little bit out of order.
A little out of order this year, but
out of order.
Coming up behind the MAG Racing, which has some really unique vehicles on display here today, including the one you're about to see in the trailer behind the vintage pickup truck. Behind those entries, we have a group from St. Jacob Lutheran Church, located right next door to our broadcast location here on Central Avenue.
And on that tall vehicle is our pastor. I belong to St. Jacob Lutheran Church, and that's Pastor Hout, Michael Hout.
Let's get it. There he is.
Yes. And he is a very talented individual, I'll tell you. He can ride any type of bike like that. He can play almost any musical instrument, and he keeps our worship services lively.
faithandfriendsradio.com, an internet contemporary Christian radio station, has an entry in this year's parade. This is a station that was launched in 2011 by local radio personalities Bill Nance and Melody Morris. And then behind that group, we've got a group from the Miamisburg branch of the Dayton Metro Library System. And there's the bookmobile.
Right. You know, we're going to be getting a new library building here in Miamisburg in a couple of years. We're looking forward to that.
The Miamisburg branch is located on South 5th Street, right next to Library Park. And we look forward to that new building in the coming years to be built. Twin Creek Kayak and Canoe Livery.
And kayaks and canoes, we're going to be seeing more of those around the community as going forward. There's a lot of interest in that now, and with our new riverfront park, and you're going to see a lot of activity on the river.
And there you see an entry called Bog Ministries. The mission of Bog Ministries is to feed the community, and you can learn more about that organization at thebog.org. That's THEBOGG, thebog.org. There you see a local troop of Girl Scouts on the trailer there. Local Girl Scouts.
And what would be a parade without the Kitsch Greenhouse Calliope? Owned by Johnny Watkins. Kitsch Greenhouse is located on Kircher Street here in Miamisburg. And his father, Clovis Watkins, built that Calliope years ago. And Clovis is no longer with us, but Johnny kept up the tradition.
How old would you say that Calliope is? Give me a ballpark.
I would say it's over 50 years old. It was hand-built by Clovis.
And now we're going to start a series of entries from youth organizations, I believe, and we're going to start with a soccer group. The South Stars girls soccer team. It's a team of under 10 age girls. Head coach is Ron Hubers, assisted by Kevin Haid and Bill Hill. The team's only in its second year, and it represents 5 Miamisburg elementary and 1 Springboro elementary school. The South Stars girls soccer team.
And as I say every year, Gary, you'll see the advertising on some of the trucks of Rumpke. Here we have Steel Towing. If it wasn't for these businesses that come forward, we wouldn't be having this little league baseball in Miamisburg. It takes a lot of money to operate, and we are just so fortunate we have local businesses that are willing to not only give it their money, but in a lot of cases their time and their talent to coach these teams. So we are very happy with our business community.
We saw a soccer organization. Now we're getting into a series of baseball and softball youth teams from the Miamisburg Civic Youth Baseball and Softball Association. Leaders of that organization are Greg and Barb Meeker. And we always have many entries. A lot of great baseball and softball, great participation in this organization. Of course, their season's just kicking off.
That's right. And a long history of that baseball participation in Miamisburg dates way back to the late 40s, early 50s here in the community, where a lot of people came together. They worked hard. They constructed Bell Park, and then Bell Park went away later when Rice Field was commissioned. And I believe there's close to 1,000 children that participate in the MCY BSA organization.
And you're a former youth baseball coach.
And I know
you enjoyed doing that.
I coached baseball for 8 years in the D League, and that was at Beekler Field. And I was fortunate to have some good players, and many of them, Bill Toadvine, for instance. Bill's no longer with us, but went on to become the head baseball coach at Ohio University in Athens, and longtime Miamisburg coach. In fact, the diamond at Miamisburg High School now is named in his honor. A lot of people over the years have put a lot of work into making this organization what it is today. You know, we just had a volunteer appreciation lunch for our senior volunteers, and we have over 400 volunteers just for the city of Miamisburg. I made a statement that day at the luncheon that this community has over several thousand when you talk about the number of people that participates in the Little League program, and the churches, the schools, the hospitals. We just couldn't do it in this community without our volunteer.
As we continue to watch the youth sports teams roll by, Mayor, I want to ask you a question about the weekend's activities as a whole, and I want to start with an event last night. It's not an official part of Spring Fling, but it's grown to be a very popular event, and that's a Taste of Miamisburg, which was held downtown last night, Friday night. Tell us a little bit about that.
They had a good turnout for Taste of Miamisburg. Unfortunately, it did rain, not throughout the evening, but it did interrupt the festivities for a while. But that doesn't dampen the people's spirits. They showed up, and Kim Combs, who we work with on a daily basis at the city, is in charge of that program. And Kim puts such a big effort into that, and we just want to compliment her for that. That's the kickoff for the Spring Fling. And then you mentioned earlier, and I started to say earlier about Mary Goodwin. And I think Mary was in the parade today. I talked to her before the parade. Mary is in her 90s now and is the one person that is still with us that started this organization, Spring Fling, 34 years ago. And Mary has been in charge of that entertainment. She says she's going to do it. She'll be there tomorrow. She says, I'll see you tomorrow. And so she'll be there, and she's going to do it as long as she can. And there again is Mary does not get paid for any of this. She is just a long time city volunteer that likes to see good things happen in the community. Of course, all the displays at the park during Saturday and Sunday. So we're just inviting the people to come out, have some good fellowship in Library Park, and enjoy the 34th Spring Fling.
There's an entry in front of us now from Leapfrogs Party and Play.
You can see why we have 1,000 kids. They just keep coming and coming, don't they?
They sure do.
Yeah.
You know, Spring Fling started out as essentially a community picnic.
Yeah, it
and
was.
Boy, it's grown to be such a popular event every
Right.
year. People look forward to it. Everything from arts and crafts in the library park to a children's carnival, live entertainment, just a lot going on. And Mayor, I know you're so appreciative of all the work that the community committee puts in to make that happen, and they do a great job.
They
don't they?
work so hard, and they'll take a month or two off after this, and then they'll immediately start in planning the 35th Spring Fling for next May. It's always the third Saturday in May, and like I said, this committee works very hard. And Gary, I don't know if you've talked about it, but if you have, I'm going to bring it up again because it's important enough to say more than once. The proceeds from the Spring Fling is used for community improvements. Most of those improvements are at Library Park, but the holiday lighting during December is a result of the Spring Fling Committee. And I just can't say enough for them. They come forth, and they are just a great group of people, hardworking people. And I know Hazel Isley is the current chair and has done that for a long time. Hazel is a former Miamisburg vice mayor and city council member, and just a person that's interested in the community.
We saw Hazel near the beginning of the parade riding along, and boy, she's been involved in Spring Fling for many years. And you mentioned the generosity of the organization.
Oh, yes.
Not only have they done things to spruce up Community Park, which is for the benefit of everybody in the community, but they've made some donations to benefit our public safety operations here with the city, police and fire both.
One year we were $20,000 short on our downtown police officer program, and the Spring Fling organization came forth and donated that $20,000 so we could keep that program going. So we're very much indebted to their work. You know, another person that went by earlier, and I'm sure you talked a lot about, was Virginia Kinderdine. Judy and I were riding behind her on our golf cart, and the enthusiasm of the audience in greeting Virginia, especially over at St. Jacobs where she's a member. They had a large group out front, and they had signs, and they were just they were yelling, and Virginia was so much enjoying all of this.
A very worthy selection. The youth baseball and softball teams continue to pass by our broadcast location. I want to remind you our route here is coming from downtown Miamisburg, heading east on Central Avenue toward Library Park. We're happy to have you with us again watching the Spring Fling Parade for 2014. Along with Miamisburg Mayor Dick Church Jr., I'm Gary Giles. And appreciation also goes to the Miami Valley Communications Council for making this broadcast possible.
Gary, I don't know if you've commented, but we're sitting out pretty much in the open now.
We are, you're right.
We've had a couple of trees where we always sit. They were ash trees, so they had to come down. And I hate to say it, but our Christmas tree over to the right here, our longtime beautiful Christmas tree, it will also be coming down, because if you really get a look at the back, it's pretty well dead in the back. And it's going to be coming down, but a new tree is going to be planted there that's going to take on all these celebrations we have in the community going forward.
Well, our visibility is completely clear now.
Right.
To the right, to the left, everything. And we hope you're enjoying our broadcast. And again, if you're watching us live on May the 17th of 2014, we want to invite you to come down to the Spring Fling Festival sometime this weekend in Library Park, right along Central Avenue by the railroad tracks. Our lineup of the youth ball teams coming to an end here with these last couple vehicles. Now, the large bus you see approaching us here at this point is from Scene 75 Entertainment Center. You may have seen it. It's along I-75 north of Dayton. It's the largest indoor entertainment center in the country. Features multi-level laser tag, Big Bad Bounce, Chaos Room, which is the first gaming theater in the country. Many other fun activities for young people and adults alike. Over 100 arcade games. Fun for all ages. That's Scene 75 Entertainment Center.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters entry. Followed by
Miamisburg Historical Society,
the
Randy
Miamisburg?
Staley.
Yes, sir.
Randy's going to be very busy next week. He's in charge of the Memorial Day festivities here in Miamisburg, and that starts off on Thursday, May 22nd. This is from Germantown, Ohio. Coaches for Kids 5K run, I believe I read on that sign.
And that event is coming up July 19th. We want to promote that since they're out promoting their event, Coaches for Kids 5K. And then some vehicles from the Miami Valley Fire District, which serves Miamisburg and Miami Township. Some fire apparatus. The Miami Valley Fire District, led by Chief Matt Queen.
And Bishop Leibel School. This looks like it might be from the Miamisburg campus downtown here.
Bishop Leibold has classes for pre-K through the 8th grade.
And followed by the Miamisburg Nazarene Church Ministries on Richard Street. Pastor Bob Herdman driving the van. and always glad to see him.
The next vehicle there represents Youthland Academy. It's a daycare and preschool for children from 6 weeks old to 12 years old. Youthland Academy.
And this is from the Miamisburg Assembly of God Church. This have a large contingent and a float. And this float won the President's Award from the Spring Fling.
And that's the same church that had the racing vehicles a little ways back in our parade lineup. Women Connecting Women organization there, passing by with the entrance that includes the 3 horses. Vintage car from Sycamore Medical Center, which is Miamisburg's largest employer, located on State Route 725 near I-75.
That's right. I believe we're close to that 2,000 employee mark. And Gary, I believe this is the conclusion of the parade.
And that will wrap up there. The final vehicles there from the city of Miamisburg, some public works vehicles, some police vehicles coming up to the conclusion. And Mayor, another spring fling parade in the books.
Another spring fling parade in the books. It didn't rain. It's a little bit cooler today than it's normally been, but you know, really, I think it is warming up. It's warmed up just since I sat down here.
I don't think the weather should keep any people away today. I think the temperature will be up into the mid to upper 50s later today on a Saturday, but it is off to a cool start. I don't think you've ever done one of our parades in a sweatshirt.
Never in a sweatshirt. Never in a sweatshirt.
So it is.
Yeah, and I really should have had more than a sweatshirt. My wife was prepared. She had gloves and toboggan, and she was ready.
Cooler than usual. We're usually fortunate to have very nice weather for the parade. A little cooler than usual, but the rain did hold off. We've got cloudy skies, but you know, as I drove in here a half hour, 45 minutes before the parade, people had staked out their spots. The crowd was good. People were ready for a good morning here along Central Avenue.
I think people are ready to get out for the summer months.
I think you're right.
And you know, there are great things happening in Miamisburg, Gary, and this kicks it off for outdoor activities. We have all kinds of car shows, concerts in the park, 5K runs. So there's a lot of things happening in our community that people can be involved with throughout the course of the summer. So we invite everybody to come to Miamisburg, where great things are happening. And we also like to say that we're a family-first community, where we put families first. Most of our activities here in Miamisburg are family-oriented, and we've got a great school system. So I'm just so proud of this community.
Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts is have a good spring fling weekend, and let's watch out for one another and enjoy the summer.
Well, thank you for joining us again here at our broadcast spot. We always appreciate your commentary and your assistance, especially with the shrine entries, and just thank you for your time.
I'm glad I got here early today, because I thought they came in awful quick on me. And,
they sneaked up on us a little bit.
I turned that corner, and there they are, and I thought, oh my heavens.
Well, we thank you for watching the 2014 Spring Fling Parade. For Mayor Church and everybody with the Miami Valley Communications Council who makes this broadcast possible, we appreciate their efforts and we appreciate you being with us. I'm Gary Giles. We'll see you next year. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.